All right, welcome back to the desk, and thanks, Clutch, for that insightful look at the IS-3.
You're welcome, sir.
That spaced armor Soviet tank with a very rounded turret, which is oh so hard to pin.
It is. It is. It's incredible to actually look at the spaced armor at the actual tank.
You just can like, lift up the flap and see.
You just lift it up, and then the armor is angled downward to even increase the ratio of the angle from when it gets hit. They thought about a lot of engineering when it came to how to get those shots to ricochet.
That's interesting.
1 over cosine theta, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the modifier
Math.
that adds to your armor. The angle in which a shell penetrates or
Stop
hits.
it.
Hey, math wins wars, man. It does.
It does.
Especially
It's
in Green Torch
exponential,
Corner.
guys. I mean, this is important. 1 over cosine theta, you can plug it in. 60
What does that
degrees.
even mean?
What do you mean, what does it mean?
1 over cosine theta.
Okay,
Are those even real words?
you know what cosine is?
The opposite of sine.
Sine, cosine, sine, 3.14159. That's something I used to chant in math. Okay.
That's awesome.
I shouldn't talk about this
That
stuff.
is amazing.
I played football.
Did y'all
Okay.
say that on the football?
Yes. Yeah, we did. We did.
You know, were you there for the funny math joke at BJ's that night?
Which one? I was there for the joke night.
Okay, so the Squires,
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
that was awful.
that was the greatest math
I
joke.
didn't hear most of it, but the reaction of everybody around me was worth it.
No, it
Nice to
was
hear. Well, looks like these teams
The
are almost
sum of
ready to go.
the sum of the square of the sides
Of hypotenuse
is equal to
is
the
greater than the sum of the squares of both sides. The sum of the square of hypotenuse is greater than the sum of the
Okay.
squares of both sides.
It's an awful joke. Don't
it's
even
a
Google
great
it.
joke.
Don't even
It's
Google
very
it.
funny.
Do you know what's the best one?
The turtle joke.
Yes. Herbal the turtle and Tortoise
Tortoise
the
the
tortoise.
tortoise and Myrtle the turtle.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
We have 30 seconds
That's a
until
very,
we have this battle
that's
ready
a very
to go.
special joke.
Himmelsdorf's going to be the map. And hill play is what we saw last time this map was chosen. I wonder if we're going to see it again here, gentlemen. Or I predict, actually, Train Depot. We're going to see
I predict a fast cap.
some West Side play.
There's a T-34 in the mix.
I predict
There is a T-34.
I predict camping.
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 Time to go and find some dry wood.
You want to put your money where your mouth is? Camping
Yes.
versus fast cap?
Yes.
I bet you $1.
$2.
Okay, deal.
Deal.
I bet you $10.
$20.
$10.
Oh,
Okay, $10.
let's go ahead and get into the map. It's on Himmelsdorf. Let's get battle number 1 started.
Okay, here we go. Come on, fast cap. Somebody needs to I don't like it when the tanks split up. That implies that we're not going to see a fast cap.
Dreams are being crushed already,
Now,
but that
to be
T-34
fair, just because
is
it's
on the
not
move.
fast cap doesn't mean that it is camping.
Yes.
I
Okay.
just want to get that out. I want to get that out there.
Okay. It's a middle ground then. So you
Well,
both
we'll
get your money
see. I
back.
mean, it could still be camping.
And camping is very objective.
Yes. It's very objective.
This 5100 from Carnage, funny spelling, and Bikes Boy in the IS-3. Moving around the corner on Take Alley. Nothing spotted yet on either side, and my prediction was wrong. I thought they were going to go train side.
Well, hill play is, in fact, exactly what we're seeing out of the Legionnaires. Man, these guys have some really long names. They barely fit
Yeah.
onto our scoreboard.
That darn Ewok, though.
Can we just call them the Diablo's Brigade?
How about we just call them Diable
Okay.
and the
Okay.
Legionnaires? Because that would
Diable
be
and
much
Legionnaires.
easier than Brigade du Diable,
Just like EC instead of Kern de Verne.
which is a shame, by the way.
As you guys look and see that hill play, we do have a lockdown for the alley, and I actually a little bit concerned. Once one of that light tanks all the way to the top of the hill, we'll probably spot what's happening on the hillside, and that's going to mean a repositioning of the 5100 and the IS-3. There is a spot from Cannonballs. He does see Stone Cold Trooper and the Doughboy in those 5100s.
Yep, that will give away at least partially the idea of this hill play, and we can see immediately the Legionnaires reacting to that by going back down the hill. They're going to reposition. The movement on the Diable side of the map is not quite as defined. They're playing very slowly. One might even argue they're camping a little bit.
So let's say camping is it draws out and no tier 8s are dead.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I am A-okay with that, my friend.
I know, it just increases your chances, but I think that's fair.
Well, I think at this point, I can't win.
Well, absolutely. That's why I'm being nice.
I was just trying to work out a way to give back that $10 from the other day.
Are they still on the top? There's no, half of them are still on the top of the hill. So they reset.
Yeah, there's a single T-69 up on the hill. That's pure fluke. Cinedane and the IS-3s actually managed to get a couple shots off on Burke's boy, knocking him down to 1,500 hit points. So a couple of big hits, but third shot either missing or bouncing, as Burks has found that hold down position behind that little pile of gravel. So I don't think we'll see any additional damage dealt.
Oh, there is damage dealt right when he shoots into Cinedane, poking out just a little bit for him to land that shot. Nice hit from Bikes Boy. This will be a standoff between these two tanks in the tank alley, as the rest of the tanks will have to reposition to the spreads on the 7 and 8 line for the blue team. Confirming with you, Ben, the blue team is the Diable.
Yes, sir.
And Bikes Boy takes another hit to the front of his tanks. Going to have to try to return fire to get that HP down a little bit on Cinedane, but that's not going to happen. No movement.
Yeah.
From Diable.
Absolutely no movement out of the French Canadians, whereas the Legionnaires are being very active. We see that they have repositioned, and now they're going to take up a west side push. And, you know, there's only a single T1 tank, I think, to spot on that west side.
There is only one Tier 1 tank on that west side in the C2 position, just outside of the train depot. That is Sphinx DDD, or Sphinx DDD.
Sphinx did.
Sphinx did. And he is not seeing anything yet, but he's in a good position to scout anything coming across the tracks, or at least anything within 15 meters.
He's going to get lit up very soon, as that darn Ewok is
Yupcha, as they would say.
doing a good job of slowly pushing forward and advancing the vision of his team. That darn Ewok has not seen anybody yet. Where is that T1 hidden? Is it inside?
It's right inside. It's right inside.
So
behind
he's not actually got that much vision.
Oh,
He's going to see that darn Ewok. That darn Ewok also sees him.
They're proxy spotted, though.
Yep. And that's going to cause Pure Fluke to not reveal himself.
No, not yet.
Nope, now he's going to push forward. And Pure Fluke will be lit up via proxy spot any second now.
Yep. He is hit now. Sphinx will see him, but he does not move an inch from his position. And
that's really interesting T1 positioning. He says, hey, I just want to proxy spot this corner. That's all he is doing. He doesn't care what he sees in the train yard. He just wants to be able to alert his team to enemy movement towards the flag down the western front. I think that's very intelligent positioning. Sphinx did caught out of position by that darn Ewok, so we're going to see a little bit of T1 on T1 action.
that Ewok completely lit up his turret, and now some shots are getting hit against the Ewok on Sphinx side. But that darn Ewok was able to land the hit. Sphinx didn't hit anything in that first burst.
Unanswered, so now that pokes out the eyes. The plans have been revealed, though, as Pure Fluke and Cinedane pushing forward down this D-line alley. Cinedane out in front, actually taking relatively little damage. Shots either going past him or bouncing off him. He will lead a push forward to Caplide and Bikes Boy, and these guys are both at roughly half HP, which is a dangerous situation to find yourselves in. Man, Bikes Boy is so exposed. Is he going to take a big shot? I think he might. No. Ends up taking 0 damage, whereas Stone Cold Trooper in that 5100 does get lit up. A couple of big shots landing on that autoloader, but fire is being returned. Stone Cold Trooper dropping all the way down to just 400 hit points. Might go even lower. He's down to 221 hit points, and he will die as the first blood is finally spilled. A Tier 8 tank is finally down.
Coplight trying to hide in behind that window. Nice movement as the Doughboy pushes into the rest of his team. He's still staying alive, still staying a factor to stop the rest of the aggression of
Doughboy missing an easy shot on the back of Coplight. He rushed it a little. Oh, a second missed shot. Those are 2 big shells from a 5100. You do not want to have that happen, and now that means Pure Fluke's going to have to come forward and waste a shell. And I don't even know that he can get the shot. That's good positioning on Coplight. He does finally go down, but it is at the cost of one of those T-69 shells. Still, though, it just might not matter, as it looks as if the Legionnaires just have just have Diable outgunned.
Yeah, and with those continual shots ringing true across the alleyway, Pure Fluke be able to move back and forth in T-69, and Cuban hitting around in that other T-69 can get the flank on Circus Maximus and Bikes Boy. 7 seconds left on the clock as the red team will be able to capture the blue base in just a matter of seconds.
They're going to cap it out. And well, actually, no, it was a good reset as somebody just turned turret and managed to take out one of those T1s. But how important really is it? As that darn Ewok, he's also going to go down. But all that remains are a very low health AMX 5100 and a single IS-3 with just 87 hit points. That IS-3 goes down. Carnage, the last man standing for Diable, and choosing to play an incredibly passive first game were the French Canadians. It did not work out well for them as the Legionnaires decisively take game number 1 on Himmelsdorf.
That hill play initially happening, but the static non-engagement from Diable. Nothing happening for the first 4 minutes. You can get in a mindset of let's play passive, let's play defensive, let's play passive, and you get stuck in that mindset, especially when a team initiates against you. And those 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds of hesitation can cost you the game. And that's what happened here.
Let's talk about some great IS-3 play out of Sinodane of the Legionnaires. Not only does he go 13 for 13, dealing nearly 2,400 damage, but he positions his tank in such a way that he absorbs 3,510 potential damage from the Diable. Now, that says one of two things. One, Diable is taking bad shots and not prepping up their fire correctly, or two, Sinodane is just positioning himself beautifully and bouncing lots and lots and lots of shells.
It's because the Tank Alley showdown with Bikes Boy, if you look at him, potential damage received, 3,810 damage. So he's doing the same thing. He's just not putting the output there. Only 727 damage done. Of course, the other side you have Sinodane doing 2,378.
Yeah, so outperforming the IS-3 counterpart on the Diable side. Great first game there from the Legionnaires. Gentlemen, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I just want to draw this comparison real quick. This is Refuse to Die with a power punching just fundamentals and execution of attacks.
We saw a lot of that same movement, and they were a little bit more ready to execute. That's a great point, Andre. And it'll be exciting to see whether or not these guys continue to show that kind of play as we get into future maps. We are going to take a short break. When we get back, map number 2, battle number 2 between Brigade du Diable. I just combined the two. And the Forgotten Legionnaires. Guys, don't go anywhere. Back to the desk of the WGL North America and to what will soon be our second battle between Brigade du Diable.
Sounds like you said that right. And the other team is the Forgotten Legionnaires. Both French themes.
Forgotten Legionnaires.
Forgotten Legionnaires.
Oh my gosh, Carter, why are you hiding in the closet?
What a Forgotten Legionnaires.
We're turning into Travolta now? Is that what's happening? We got to work on our accents.
We need to bring back Connery.
Yeah.
Forgotten Legionnaires.
Legionnaires. You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme was in a movie called Legionnaires.
He was also in a movie called Twins with a guy that looked nothing like him. And the best part of the movie was like the guy's girlfriend apparently like sees Jean-Claude Van Damme and she thinks it's her man. And she's like, but he looked just like you. But he didn't look anything like him. It's really funny.
I thought that's a movie where Jean-Claude plays himself as the twin. Is that not the case? I've not seen this movie. I'm a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I really liked his movies growing up. And
he was great in Street Fighter.
Yeah, oh, dude. I love that movie.
It's Colonel Guile.
I do. I love that movie because it has some of the funniest lines of all time.
Okay.
Of all time.
It's like that scary movie that won best comedy, right? There was just recently like a intentional scary movie that just won the award for best comedy. It's like, yeah, that's why Street Fighter's good.
No, I do love it. One of my favorite lines, Bison is talking to Chun-Li, and she's telling him about the day that his men came in and destroyed her village, and all they had was pitchforks and scythes, and he had all these guns and ammunition and completely just wiped out her people. And Bison looks at her, and he goes, Chun-Li, the day I graced your presence was probably the happiest but toughest day of your life. But for me, it was a Tuesday. And that line has stuck with me ever since as an 8-year-old when I saw that film. Loved it.
All right. Well, we have not had a map change yet. We're still looking at Himmelsdorf. Pretty eager to see where we end up going as As, it is going to be on Diable to make that map choice.
It will be. According to the chat, looks like they are confirming what it will be. And I'm guessing it's going to be steps. And this also reminds me of the last map of Refuse to Die, or the last series, excuse me, of Refuse to Die versus Gentleman Gaming, of why they chose Abbey. Why they chose Abbey when Refuse to Die had a completely defensive position to hold in. And that is part of the strategy of World of Tanks 7x42 is if you can hold down in a defensive position, go for a defensive map to get the draw or to get the defensive area. And Abbey was a choice I would not have chosen if I was in that scenario.
Yep. Steps is in fact going to be the map, and that countdown has just begun. So we're going to be seeing these two teams face off once again on the very wide open, and sometimes fast and furious, other times rather passive. Open map called Steps. You wanna go double or nothing? Or we just call that last one a wash?
No. Oh, last battle was a wash for sure.
All right. Well, then let's just jump into Steps with nothing on the line. All right, gentlemen, here we go again. Clutch. What tanks are we seeing on either side?
IS-3, T-34, three T-69s, and 2 T-1s for the Diable team. And one IS-3, one T-32, one T-69. Oh, shots fired. 2 the T-1s going down. And another AMX 1390 on the side of the Forgotten Legionnaires.
On the word.
Wow, that T-34 is still staying strong on the French team. Diable du Brigade du Diable.
I don't know how the hell those T1s got lit up and killed so quickly. That was just literally seconds into the map starting.
I don't know either. I didn't see any spotting on the map.
Was that blind fire?
How sick would that be?
That would be obnoxious.
I didn't see any spots either.
If that was blind fire, that'll be the luckiest shots I've ever seen in this game. I'm going to have to go back and check the replay on that, or at least consult with the players. Because looking at the mini-map,
yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and see. I was looking at the tanks, and I just saw 2 tanks die.
Or maybe they just exposed themselves and got blasted. The T-32 was the killer of one of them, and they have a T-32 with some of the best sight range in the game.
And even the sight range again on these IS-3. This IS-3 Bikes Boy getting lit up from far away. A couple of those shells do bounce off that spaced armor.
Yep, good job spotting there by that darn Ewok, I should say. Not that damn Ewok, but that would be awesome if it was.
Oh, Bikes Boy circling around next to the T-34 Fire Tank 2. T-34 larger, slower than a T-32, but does more damage. And have not seen it really unload its firepower yet against the Forgotten Legionnaires.
Looks like we're seeing the Legionnaires just reposition. They did see a lot of action on the eastern side of the map, and now we're seeing what Andre was talking about, that highly mobile play style that they seem to be copying from Refuse to Die, or at least that we saw some of with Refuse to Die, it being executed here, whereas the Diable team has fallen back into a completely defensive posture.
They're scared
on the west side of the map. They're doing the right thing as it turns out to be.
No, I'm not saying they're not doing the right thing, but I'd be scared too if both my T1s died within 1 minute of the game.
Within 30 seconds, man. That was like instant.
And completely reassess what's going on.
I do want to say, I don't think you ever copy aggressive play in World of Tanks. It's so impossible to do that.
I shouldn't use the word copy, but it's something that we saw a little bit of from Refuse to Die. Now, there's some more good spotting from that darn Ewok. I'm telling you, man, when an R and an N are right next to each other, it looks just like an M.
Yes, sir. That is the English language. Fire Tank 2 and a T-34 taking some damage. Those hits from the 1390 from that darn Ewok.
Great spotting from that darn Ewok. He is just all over it. He's now lit up Carnage. And Cyrus Maximus, or Circus Maximus. And Ewok is going to actually light up that T-69 and land some shots in his side. So Maximus going all the way down to 480 hit points. So this is some great 1390 play out of that darn Ewok. And this means that the Legionnaires, they haven't taken any damage. A single, well, it's not completely true. Cinedane did go down.
Yeah, they took a lot of damage on Cinedane.
But the rest of the team has absolutely full health, which might actually mean they have a hit point advantage in spite of the fact that they're down at tier 8, I completely missed Sinodane getting blasted.
He was trying to go for the flag capper, positioning himself to see anything spotting that side. Was completely left in the open. And the T-69s plus the IS-3 and T-34 were able to unload on him and annihilate him. You still see his smoking tank way in the distance here. But this is a bit of the confidence booster that Diable will need if they decide to get better map control, which is going to be a dangerous game to play since no T1s are on the map for them, and both T1s on the side of Forgotten Legionnaires. I have full health. They're completely out.
The Forgotten Legionnaires positioned just outside of cap range here, and Brigade du Diable hiding behind that ridge line in a completely defensive lockdown. There is no 8-point advantage on either side. That's because both those tier 1s have been killed, so nothing to actually fret for the Legionnaires here. But they are going to want to make something happen. I have to feel like they're going to try to reposition here soon and look for a new angle from which to aggress.
The map control is in favor of Forgotten Legionnaires, even though they are down in tier points. But as you were mentioning before, Ben, having the HP advantage, if you calculate the spread, or even just looking at it, guesstimating from eyesight of what's been hit on the side of Diable compared to Forgotten Legionnaires, full health, they could roll in, and with some good clean shots and focus fire on specific tanks, like Carnage or Cirrus Maximus, it'll be game over as long as their shots land.
Might be one of those odd times when you actually send the T1 to absorb a couple shots and push at the same time. I think that could be a cute play. Probably not what we're going to end up seeing, as it is a pretty all-in play.
Yeah, that is very true, and the pressure of the flag cap with those T1s is not going to amount to very much, except exposing tanks and getting those initial shots from the autoloaders, especially those T-69s, to fire away. And now
one of those T1s gets blasted.
Yep, and there's one of the shots there from the T-69, but he could reload in time, about 23 seconds on that reload speed, depending on crew skills, to start that reload now.
And Ewok is now on the move, perhaps contemplating that one of the 69s could be clipping, and this is going to be more good spotting from Ewok. He lights up every tank, man. This is some great driving here from Ewok, managing to move in cover and spot out the entire team. This is going to allow the Legionnaires to position for cap if they want, or aggress onto the defensive position of Brigade du Diable. And I think it will be the latter. They are going to take up an aggressive foot. I love the driving of Ewok. He is absolutely doing this just brilliantly. The T-69 is coming up behind cover to support as Ewok continues to creep forward.
It's all in that map control as well, Ben, and with the calculated movement of moving closer and closer in cover, even though Stone Cold Trooper just took a shot from Fire Tank, being able to move in closer and closer. Now they're going to get that execution. Pure Fluke and Cuban with that beautiful surround on the left. Carnage and Circus Maximus trying to stop that advancer from that darn Ewok, but those two T-69s are going to unload on the stopped-in movement for the blue team.
Oh, one tier 8 drops now for the Brigade du Diable, and the T-69s of Cyrus Maximus and Carnage are both very, very low. 146 hit points for Cyrus Maximus. Carnage at about 600 hit points, so he can take 2 or 3 shots. But still, the tempo, hard to say who it's favoring right now, as the T-69s of the Legionnaires are taking some pretty substantial damage. Cuban down to just 296 hit points. We see another tier 8 tank falling for the Legionnaires. That T-32 Stone Cold is going to make a big advance up onto Carnage, who has 684 hit points and actually just tracks the T-32. Doesn't manage to do any damage. That's a wasted shell for that T-69. The noose seems to be tightening as the Legionnaires are closing in on the remaining tanks of Brigade du Diable.
Brigade du Diable could get a couple more shots, especially against Pure Fluke here. But Cuban and Pure Fluke holding the line as that darn Ewok and Stone Cold Trooper.
Look at Ewok's great positioning up on the hill. He's going to come from behind. T-34, the last man standing. And what great teamwork out of the Forgotten Legionnaires. This team is looking like they are on point, man. And man, poor Fire Tank in that T-34. He's not even got the turret turn speed.
Nope, that darn Ewok can clean him up easily. And
Boom.
that darn Ewok, the MVP from that battle. Nice work, nice positioning, nice map control. Forgotten Legionnaires picked apart patiently after destroying those T1s, which was incredibly quick. And were able to move in closer and closer and closer and lock it down.
Yeah, phenomenal play out of that darn Ewok. But the entirety of the Forgotten Legionnaires really contributing in a big way. Look at how much damage they shared. At the end of that battle, every tank was low. Nobody absorbed all the damage. They spread it out. And that's the difference between 2 kills and 6 kills, guys. Just or 7 kills, I should say. Just beautiful driving, beautiful coordination, great team synergy. These guys are looking impressive to me.
I think Kufo might have to hold on a little bit and really perform if he's back in WGLNA, because I think that darn Ewok is going to be one of the big contenders.
9 shots, 9 hits,
Yeah.
1,400 damage, and he's spotted for 1,400 more. That's pretty damn impressive for 1390 driving.
And I feel, I would say that Kufo was kind of the person, that was their style. Kufo lit everybody up, and then they do the damage. But I felt like that darn Ewok was having a nice balance of everything. He was doing a lot of damage, spotting, getting to the right positions, getting to the flank positions.
Man, he did all the spotting
Everything was
damage.
awesome.
No one else on the team did any spotting at all except for Cinedane, who we saw die very quickly.
I can believe it, and we've seen some great 1390 play this evening.
Yeah.
Our first series, pardon me for forgetting the player's name, Trigger X or Trinity X or something to that. We'll have to go back and check, but on high voltage, performing very well in the 1390.
Yes.
Yep.
But overall, one thing I do want to say, I'm so glad to see defensive play like this, campy play like this, getting crushed, and especially on a map like Steppes. It's hard to aggress on Steppes, There's a really nice defensive posture that you could set up in the southwestern position. And what's the Diable? They did set up in a pretty good position, but you could see that clean play that came out of Legionnaires just was able to clean everything up.
Yeah, very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Legionnaires goes up 2-0 and are now 1 map away from moving forward in the qualifiers. This is a team that I'm suddenly very excited about. That was cool to see. We are going to kick it into a very short break. When we return, battle number 3 between the Forgotten Legionnaires and Brigade du Diable. I'll never get it right. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the desk of the Wargaming.net League North American World of Tanks Season 2 Qualifier number 1. I am Ben, Mr. Bitternickel, sitting alongside my good buddy.
Me! I'm me. No, Joshua Clutch. Great. Thanks, Ben. Legionnaires looking fantastic, honestly. And I am very, very excited to see these different teams make it just past the round of 32. And this is qualifier number 1. We're already seeing some pretty good play here.
Look at the ballsiness out of Brigade du Diable. Losing steps pretty one-sidedly, going straight to Prokhorovka. A map, probably the most similar map to Steppes that we have in the map pool.
Yeah, definitely. So, and we saw, obviously, a very campy setup. Now, Proc can be split up east and west, and it's very difficult to aggress on, especially if you take the east side and you're spawning in as south. You're able to get good coverage on your own cap, so take off any cap pressure and then maintain a very defensive posture. I hope we don't see campiness, but I mean, the last 2 games, that's all they did.
Well, all Forgotten Legionnaires has to do is camp.
That's true.
They
and they win.
And
That's not true.
They could just they could draw it out continually on this map, and we don't have to be super aggressive. But why not be aggressive? Why not try a strategy your team's been working on that you could use against this type of team? Hopefully, but we'll definitely see. Prokhorovka is the first time we're actually going to see this map tonight, gentlemen, and this is Soviet's favorite map, and he always berates us because we don't pronounce it correctly.
I pronounce it right.
I pronounce it perfectly.
It's just you, Clutch.
Okay.
Well, I don't. So
the K
Soviet,
is silent.
please continue to help me pronounce Prokhorovka correctly.
It's a harder K.
Prokhorovka.
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 Called Prok for short.
Prokhorovka.
Back in the East Coast, I'm in Boston. Prokhorovka.
Pecan bar.
I can't wait for Ben Affleck to play Batman.
Prokhorovka.
My boy Robin. Robin is wicked snap.
All right. Prokhorovka, go. And here we go, gentlemen. That darn Ewok once again in the 1390. I am very eager to see what he brings to the table this time. He has been showing us some phenomenal 1390 play in the first 2 battles, and I would love to see that continue.
He will continue in his 1390 on this map. T69s for his teammates, as well as AMX 5100s and 2 T1s. For the Brigade du Diable, 2 AMX 6100s, a T-34 again, still sticking with a T-34, 2 T-69s, and 2 T-1s. T-34 not matched very well when it comes to an AMX 1390 when it's up close and just driving circles around the T-34. Traverse speed not the fastest, tank not the fastest. And that is how you engage a T-34 in a lighter tank. Just run circles around it.
Yeah, interesting positioning right off the bat from the Legionnaires. They're going to take this this eastern village, and we see that darn Ewok trying to fire on cannonballs in that T1. First shot was a miss. Second shot's going to be a hit though, and out goes one of the eyes.
That darn Ewok performing again very well, taking out that eyes and ears. The spread of Diable is halfway through the map as one of the light tanks is on the road.
That's a dangerous spread, man. I don't know how much cover they actually have in the middle of the map like that.
Not enough, but this could be a bait and switch as one of the tanks could cross the railroad tracks. With all this bush cover, this camel cover for 3 of the heavies, they could unload on it. However, once they do, it will expose them. If they're not able to get the kill, they could fall back.
Ewok is so freaking smart, realizing that with that T1 dead and that T69 spotted that he can aggress towards the flag. The judgment from this guy is blowing me away. You know, there's nothing telling him that there's definitely nobody back here.
Hey,
but his game senses are tingling, and he's going to go for it.
If him and his people can wipe out the Empire on his forest moon of Endor, then he can clearly take down these tanks on a very open field with a little bit of forest as well.
Well, he has poked up onto the tracks and spotted Sphinx in that T69. And I am just so impressed with his ability to make these calls. He's moved very far forward on the map, has spotted not a single tank, and that means that Pure Fluke can move up in that T69 as well. Going to give them a good firing position and from the northern half of the map.
And there he does spot.
Man.
There's the spot that he needs, and he's going to get a shot fired here.
Very, very dangerous. First shots are fired. No damage dealt just yet, though. Pure Fluke also in a firing position. And Fluke is going to hit in a big way. That Sphinx taking some big damage. Second shots missing from both Fluke and Ewok. Third shots are going to hit. Sphinx dropping down to 890 hit points, 630 hit points as Ewok chimes in once again. 250 more damage being piled on by Ewok. Sphinx now down at just 385 hit points.
And Sphinx is tracked. His fuel tank's been hit. His ammo's been hit, but it did not blow. He was not ammo racked. But that was a significant hit to the modules on that T69. Sphinx is hurting, and he is hurting bad.
Yeah, he has more or less been removed from the fight, and it was at basically no cost to the Legionnaires. We do see a little bit of fire on the other half of that. This Doughboy takes a big shot. He's going to drop down to 319 hit points from the focus fire of these AMX 5100s. He's in a full retreat, backing off, not firing at all. But look at Cuban coming in and taking some shots for his buddy. This T69 reinforcing and doing some great damage. Meanwhile, Pure Fluke and Ewok should be about done reloading. And you know, I'm gonna jump on Ewok immediately as he is gonna go over the tracks and immediately opens fire on Cyrus Maximus and it dodges a shell. More good driving out of Ewok, who looks like he is just itching to jump those tracks and make something happen, but he's gonna let his better judgment steer him in another direction as he sees Pure Fluke under fire, and he's gonna offer some of his own shells downrange. Pure Fluke is now locked up and a bit of face-hugging with Kaplide. Kaplide forced to retreat as well as he realizes he cannot win 1v2 with the assisting fire from the other tanks downrange.
Kaplide trying to shut down that flank fire from Pure Fluke, but Pure Fluke lining it up. That shot, is he able to get it?
Why are you just going to stand there? I guess because he knows that Kaplide doesn't have any shells left.
He's also trying to get Cyrus Maximus at 5100 more towards the front against Doughboy and
Here
the rest of his
comes
teammates.
Ewok once more, and I think he's going to make short work of this T69. One shot and misses the second. No, it doesn't. That was Kaplide missing. And now Ewok in a perfect position to just go initiate cap. Cyrus Maximus and Carnage, the only two tanks left. Cyrus goes down. Carnage is the last man standing. This was as one-sided as they get, guys. Excellent play out of the Legionnaires, and they will advance into the later rounds of this qualifier. What phenomenal tanking.
Sweet. And I got to hand it to that darn Ewok. Great movement, scouting, and play. And it comes down to taking a bit of a risk when you reach the top of that railroad system. Oh, do I see any tanks? No. Do they see me? Maybe, because you have to wait. If there's an indicator, your sixth sense, that light bulb will pop up. Once it does, you have to back down, because if you don't, a shell could already be on the way. Trajectory moves pretty quick in all the tanks. But great play by him, great positioning, great scouting, performing very well.
This time Ewok battle buddied up with Pure Fluke for a lot of combined damage. Fluke really able to use the vision of Ewok to position himself and output 2,500 damage into enemy tanks. That's very, very well done. Also great support play out of Cuban Convict, who picked up 3 kills, 1,700 damage. Very, very nicely done. Forgotten Legionnaires are showing up on my radar in a pretty big way as possible favorites now in this qualifier. That was some of the most convincing play we've seen.
It's actually kind of funny in this qualifier so far. It's like the last team that we've casted start to become
getting better.
the favorite going into this qualifier. And you know, we were pretty impressed with High Voltage, and then we're like, oh, Refuse to Die looking really good, and then we're like, oh man, Symphosaurus Rex, they're gonna probably take it. And now all of a sudden we got Legionnaires over here that are just outclassing their opponents.
Brigade du Diable is supposed to be like the premier French-Canadian team, is what Rukil told us. That, hey, these guys are considered real heavy hitters from that region. And Legionnaires just proving no prob. Walked right over them. So very convincing play out of those guys. And Forgotten, or that darn Ewok rather, is somebody that I am going to have my eyes on as we move forward in these qualifiers and hopefully on into Season 2 of the WGL North America.
This really is a night for the 1390, as we have seen in different matchups. It really, really is. And right now for the scoreboard, the WZ132 on my end and the 1390 on Ben's end, Ben's winning right now. You know,
I got to say, though, just in fairness to you, Clutch, if we go back and look at all of our stats from Season 1 and say, what is the average performance level for a 1390? Oh, I feel like almost every game we've got somebody below, like outlier, just outperforming what we've come to expect as the norm for 1390. Like, these are big plays that we're seeing, and I'm so impressed.
But at the same time, we have some of the worst plays in 1390s too. I mean, you stuff Junior in a WZ132 or a 1390, he's dying first. It don't matter.
Yeah. Or you can fall off a cliff. We've seen that more in the WZ132 than we've seen in 1390. But I also want to remind everyone that each of these teams that do not make it through this qualifier have a second chance in qualifier number 2 for the sign-up.
It's not over yet. We are only qualifying one team from each qualifier, but there are 2 chances. So, gentlemen, if you didn't make it tonight, please don't count yourselves out just yet.
And congratulations too for competing, because not everyone can do this. And just you guys being on the world stage here, the North American stage, kudos to you for giving it a try.
Yeah, it's tough. Now you have that experience. And good luck moving forward, and we hope that you come back. Man, Forgotten Legionnaires looking very strong. Our final match of the day is going to be between Death from Above and Hunter x Hunter. So we're going to take a very short break and begin getting that one together. We are still running way ahead of schedule. Well, actually only 10 minutes ahead of schedule, so that's not so bad. And hopefully those 2 teams are about ready, and we'll be able to jump into matches very soon. Don't go anywhere.